Welcome back to the main event. We're your hosts. I'm Tara.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is part 2 of the red flags that you need to look out for, dialogue edition during consultation. So one of my favorite ones that is probably a no-brainer that's a red flag throughout the years of experience is no stylist can ever get my hair right. Red flag.
Run away.
So usually what this kind of tends to mean is, like, even after going through the whole consultation, whether that be color or be extensions, there's usually an insecurity with themselves and they're just not happy with themselves in general. And you know that you can't take that personal, and not every client is going to be your cup of tea, and you can't make everybody happy. As much as you want to make everybody happy, there are just some people out there that aren't happy with themselves, and then they're going to project that onto you and project that onto the stylist.
And sometimes, too, the things that they want done aren't achievable.
Yeah.
One of the girls worked for me. She had a client who kept coming up with these, like, pictures that were definitely filtered. And she's like, but I want this and this little hue of pink, but then there's some orange. And she actually came up to me and she goes, can I fire this client? Would you be mad at me if I said no? I said, absolutely. I go, this is ridiculous. And it was like every appointment. And it was just like some of the stuff they want is just not real. No, absolutely not. Sometimes, like, you have to understand that no one gets my hair right. We'll see, like, we're in a lot of different hairdressing groups, and also we're on different community pages, and you'll see somebody saying that I can't find anybody that can do my hair, and I need this, and I need within this budget, and blah blah blah. And people are commenting. I'm like, oh, stylist, no, I will not even. I'm like, I don't want any part of that. I've been burned by that before, and like you said, usually it's something that's going on within themselves where
or something in their life.
Yeah, and there's only so much we can do, right? So you can't change somebody's face. You can't change the head of hair they necessarily have. We could add extensions. We could do treatments, but there's only so much. Like, they have to be happy with themselves first. I always take that as a red flag. And sometimes, though, it happens, they're in your chair. You're already far deep in this, right? So you can't be like, oh, I don't want to necessarily do this. But I always recommend, if the hair is compromised and everything, then absolutely just say, I don't feel comfortable. I feel like your hair needs to heal. I can do a treatment today, or I can do this. So you can refuse the service, but sometimes they tell you after the fact. I had one that, oh my God, she's still burned into my brain, but it was after she was processed. Oh yeah. After she had processed, she told me that she had the police called on her at multiple salons throughout the past few years. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like a bomb in my chair. Like, I want to get this out of here.
You want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And you're already going with it. And she was happy with her hair and she rebooked. But I kept seeing things. Now, this again, I mean, it could have been a mental health thing. I have no idea. But I could see the things playing out and the way that she would be. And she's requesting something that is not in style. And I don't want to put my name on it. And so I was like, okay, if you can show me a celebrity that has their hair that way, then I will do it for you. And of course, knowing she couldn't, because it was in a very outdated look. So that kind of got me out of that. But she was really happy. I think it was the color, right? She loved the color, but she wanted this cut. And I said, listen, I'll continue to do your color, but I'm not the right stylist for your cut. And she had a little meltdown. And I said, then I just don't think we're the right salon, let alone any of my girls. I wasn't going to subject them to that. But that, again, is a red flag. And I had known about the police being called on this woman. I would have dodged that like you would not believe. There would have been no amount of money in the world that would have had me put myself and my salon and my personal reputation on the line like that. So sometimes, again, I know the money can be tempting, but it's not worth it. And you're not going to be this magical unicorn that suddenly makes this person love and be happy with their hair, especially if they're in your chair and you're seeing nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? And you're like, this is a beautiful color. This is nice.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I really don't know, what this lady's issue is. But I don't know. For me, I'd say red flag and move on to somebody else.
100%.
Because that's like a bad review waiting to happen. They will tarnish your business all over the same social media sites that you found them on. They're going to be blasting you. And if you're a salon owner, that review stays there forever. whether that girl working for you is there or not. So, and
Mhm.
they don't really do anything to help us get them removed. So I just dodged that one.
I think we both have an incredible amount of patience, especially
Yeah.
after all these different scenarios and experiences that we've encountered. And you're right. I'm not the stylist for
Yep.
you.
And that's
And it seems like
okay.
we're not on the same page here. So I think you're better off going somewhere
Yeah.
else. But man, does that feel like a boulder lifted off of you? Oh, I developed my lady balls.
Yes. Yeah. And
You
it's
feel
huge.
empowered.
And I think more as stylists are now working together, talking together, we have more platforms like this. I feel like that's building that up. Where
Mhm.
when I started, it was like you had to take every client, and it was not really talked to or told to you that you can fire a client and you can say, I don't feel comfortable doing this service. It was more about, nope, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. And I feel like this has been so great because now being able to be connected with so many stylists, we're all supporting each other that we don't need to deal with this. We don't have to take on this client. It's okay to say no. It's okay to fire a client.
Mhm.
So I'm loving that because I think that is huge. And I think younger stylists are coming out understanding that as well.
Yes, and I think that's also going to give you longevity in the
Mhm.
industry, especially if you are new, and being around a supportive community to really lift you up. And
Yeah.
if you're unsure of the client experience that you had as well. So,
Yeah, it's good to have that feedback of being like, no, you weren't wrong in that situation. Or yeah,
we'll rally around you.
exactly. It's just good to hear that and everything. And
Yeah.
so I'm loving the way this is all taking and all the platforms we have now to stay connected
Yeah.
with stylists all over the world. I think it's great.
I'm so grateful for that, to be able to
Yes,
be so connected to so many people.
I agree.
All right, moving on. Oh, I need to check with my mom, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife before I decide. So, whoever's paying for the service, essentially, red flag.
It's a red flag. It's a red flag if they're paying. It's a red flag if someone's like, well, I don't know. My husband only likes me this color, whatever.
Or
Like
my
I've had
husband
that.
likes my hair long.
And it's 3 strands. No, I think your husband would like you better with fuller. But so sometimes, yes, if they're putting so much more importance on other factors than
People
what they
pleasing
really want.
others. Yep.
And if somebody is the one in control of paying, don't get me wrong, I think all of our stylists can relate. I've had plenty of women come
Absolutely.
in that are, I'm putting this on this card. I'm going to pay you cash for this because they don't want their husband to know what they're spending on their hair.
It's like hiding your Amazon package.
Exactly. It really is. And it's like, I totally get that. I will buy things and leave in my car, even though I can buy whatever I want to and I sneak it in as I want to. No one's telling me no, but it's still that thing where you're like, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff. But so I have had that. But if somebody is just saying, oh, I got to check with this or I check with the mom is a good thing too, where you can get burned. I always feel like,
Especially with proms.
there was a whole thing too that I was watching, and it was basically how I guess certain states have certain ages where you can perform a service on this child or whatever. So I don't know, the laws are different, but it was interesting because if a child, oh, my mom dropped me off and she's like a young teenager and I can get X, Y, and Z. I never will do that without speaking to the parent first and speaking to the parent about pricing, because I have had that where that has blown up in your face. So definitely the mom thing. And also your consultation at that point should be with one of the parents there so that they know what they're doing. Because kids lie, they lie. And maybe they wanted, the mom agreed to a few sun-kissed highlights and they're trying to get platinum, right? And they're like, oh, no, it's fine. That's now going to blow back on you. So when you're in those situations where there's other people that have a say, whether that's the look, the price, the whatever, you need to talk to the one that's in charge.
Yeah.
Every time.
Or even some of my past experiences with doing proms where the client that's going to the prom and has to wear the style wants something totally different than what the person who is paying, whether that be the mom or the grandma. So it's again, the parent is paying or the grandma is paying, but they're wearing the hair.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them prom trauma. I want to make them both happy, but I do feel like I would listen more to what the client wants, so that I don't give them tears and them walking out of the salon like they're unhappy. And you have to put them in their place a little
You
bit and
do.
just say politely, this is for your daughter, your granddaughter, and I want to do my best work, and I can't do that if I'm trying to meet both of your expectations.
It's definitely true. It's again,
It's tough.
we talk about how our job is so hard and so much more stuff like we have to do. We have to be like negotiators sometimes.
Almost,
And
yeah.
it is trying to work with both of them and meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And I find too, some of the kids are very strong and being like, no, this is
This
what
is what I
and then I'll try to be in the middle and be like, okay, so I know you wanted to have hers down, but having her up, it really be good because she's not going to be hot. She doesn't have to worry about it all night. So I try to get everybody comfortable, which again is you want to just be able to go and do your job, but sometimes you can't. You have to be in the middle of their thing, which honestly should have been decided beforehand. But we get stuck in that all of the time.
Yes.
So I don't side with one or the other. And you can't really be controlled. You also still have to be true with who you are as a stylist. Maybe that one
Yes.
look that someone wants is not going to work on their hair type.
Or like the Shirley Temple ringlets that aren't even brushed out, that are an 80s
Exactly.
style or something. And that's what grandma wants, and that's not what the client
Exactly.
wants.
So
you can meet in the middle by just doing a full head of curls and some pieces back, or figure it out.
You figure it out and you navigate it the best way that you
Absolutely.
can. And
You gotta steer the ship and
you hope
take
the client that
authority.
wants it has a voice and can defend themselves in their look, and you try to blend both of them together. But it does definitely happen. I feel like whenever there's somebody else involved in it, it makes it more complicated.
Absolutely.
So besides a child or something like that, but I feel like if it's the spouse, I would red flag them and I wouldn't want to do them because I'm not here to appease you or what you want. So I steer clear of that. Or again, you can help to be in the middle and being like, well, this is the look she wants, but I can do this, which would be in your budget. And they go from there. Let them duke it out.
If it's the spouse, I'll be like, no, I'm going to listen. Like, I want to make her happy and do whatever she wants me to do.
Yeah. I have had it with a wedding trial.
Yeah.
And the future groom was there and he was dictating how he wanted her makeup and he didn't want her to have lashes and
Also
this
a
and
red
that.
flag.
And red flag for the marriage. And so I did take him aside and I did explain to him because sometimes I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut. But I did say, listen, this is her day. And I appreciate that you love her looking natural and you love her for the way that she is. But she wants to just feel her best. And if a few little eyelashes extra is making her feel that way, then I feel like it's
let her
not
have
a big
the
deal. Let her
lashes.
have the lashes. So sometimes you do have to kind of
put them in their place.
Yeah. And she ended up deciding to wear lashes on that day. And she was walking with confidence. And she said, I don't care what he says. So it was nice.
Amen.
Amen. So I feel we had to navigate that one.
Okay. We have the next one. Can you replicate this exact Pinterest photo?
It's a red flag. I think what people don't understand is these pictures they're seeing, this artist picked the perfect model to showcase that look, whether it was a style, an updo, a color, that their hair type. They don't understand that. Not everybody has the same hair type. Not everybody can achieve the same look. Everybody has different natural pigments. Like, you don't really know. So first off, I think you should never guarantee. Even if you can do it, don't put a guarantee on it. I think it's always better to, what
does that say?
Under promise and
under promise, over deliver. Yes.
So I think you're always better off that way. If you can get them there, great. If it's a look they're showing you, there's no way in hell that hair is getting like that. You need to give them other options and be like, I understand. I can see why you like this picture. Do you like maybe it's the placement of the highlighting, but maybe realistically, they're not going to be that white blonde. You might then come up with a picture that shows that type of placement, but more in a tone that would work for them.
Yeah.
So again, this is a client that is going to be a little bit more harder, but it's kind of setting expectations and being realistic about it, but communicating that. I think that's huge. I feel, especially if you're a newer stylist, you get nervous and you're like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do what they want. I got to do what they want. And you set yourself up for failure. And it's anxiety and it makes you not enjoy it and you're nervous and you can come up with other problems, that could arise. I feel like it's staying true to who you are and doing what would be the best for the client, but telling them that. Don't just go, you have to communicate this and be on the same page where that client's like, okay, then let's do that. I think that would be great. Maybe it's a look they're showing you that they don't want that maintenance. So you need to convey to them that one's going to be a lot of maintenance. You told me you only want to come in 2-3 times a year, that you're looking at more coming in every 6 to 8 weeks. Is that something you really want to do? So it's really all just communicating and getting on the same page.
And also, I'd like to add in that it getting a little bit more difficult because of AI. And we can totally tell that it's AI.
Yeah.
These people do not look real. They are too perfectly perfect.
Yes.
And that's how you could tell that it's an AI photo. But having to set those realistic expectations with your client is so key. I've seen it even with wedding inspo photos. This girl had this big braid that carried off the screen, and it looked like she was part of anime. And
like in a fairy tale.
And I was like, okay, so we want a fairy tale like style. We can do that, but we need to add more hair for this. And her hair is like unrealistic, where it's literally to the floor and dragging across the photo. So I would say the AI photos are not realistic inspiration. That would be another
The
red
AI
flag.
photos are definitely hard. I had it the other day with a client I've been doing forever, and was showing off a cut, and she said, I don't know, I don't think my hair would do this. And I said, it is an AI photo, so it had those little waves in the hair. Perfect.
Real.
And I'm like, yeah, luckily she was cool. She's like, I thought so. I'm like, I'm like, and I pulled up a picture more realistically. We could do something along this lines, and that's how your hair would be styled with it. And I also know she doesn't like to style her hair. It's not what she enjoys doing. It's not what she has time to do. She struggles with it. So it was giving her kind of the best look, but luckily she was cool with it. Okay, it's AI. But and I'm thinking, oh my God, like you see it with color all the time, especially with the white and the black and taking people back to their gray. A lot of it is AI. I always like,
or the super, super platinum that's like way too perfect. And then like a foreign root. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing all that work to make you platinum to then give you this dark skunk root.
It's really getting them to understand it. Some will hold strong, like, nope, this is what I want. Okay, well then maybe you should find somebody else, because
not the stylist for you.
They have to, it's a working together. It's a back and forth effort. And and making sure you're both on the same page and being able to achieve those good results.
Well, the good thing is AI is never going to take our jobs.
No, no, definitely not.
They might send us AI inspo photos, but they're not making robots that can do hair like us.
And we've been dealing with filters, so we can handle it.
Exactly. Okay, next red flag. God, this happened to me in the beginning of my journey, and I left my card in the car. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I like to see the good in people. I was extremely gullible at that point. I was like, oh, no problem. Like, go and grab it and I'll be here waiting for you. She never came back.
Nope.
She never came back. And the salon that I was working at the time, they're like, what do you mean she didn't pay? She said she left her card in the car and she didn't come back. They go, well, this is why we tell people to leave something of importance at the desk so that they are going to come back and pay. Some people really do truly leave their card in the car and they will come back. That has happened too. So redemption there. But those are the good, loyal clients that continually come back to you. But if they say, I left my card in the car and they haven't paid and they're a new client, that is a red flag.
And you're probably not the first one they swindled. And you're not going to be the last. Actually, I've been hearing more and more about this kind of stuff of people either trying to run, people, again, playing, I got to get this out of my car, or people, like, you had a relationship with them, right? Like, they've been your client for a while. And they might just be like, oh, times are really tough. Can I pay you in a week or something? And then they just never come back. I've had some that would write on the check a different date. So you can't cash it till such and such time. And I had one that I ended up not even realizing it was in my wallet. I never cashed it. And I got beat out of that. And that was a lot of money. So it's like, you give an inch, they take a mile. So it's like, really be leery of those people, because I wouldn't be able to. I hate owing anybody like $1, let alone doing something like that. But people do, and somehow they justify it. So definitely protect yourself. I've had where I left my car in the car. Okay, your kid's staying in the salon. Like, they have left their kid. They have left the rest of their wallet, their driver's license, anything like you'd said of importance. So if they really left the kid, then it would have been me and have the kid now on top of it. But so
don't fall for the same thing.
Don't fall for it. No, they would leave like their purse there or something, or somebody walks them out. You just want to protect yourselves now. I mean, I hate to say it, but there are people that are scammers, and sometimes there are people that are financially okay and fine. Hairdressers are really understanding people. If you really were down and out and you need to do this, they might change the look that you have, something low maintenance or something that isn't as expensive, so you can still look good and feel good. But just communicate that. Don't try to rob them.
And like, we have good conscience where we're like, no, like, we could never do that to somebody. When those types of events and experiences do happen to us, it's what the
it's like you were just taking
I would never do
advantage of.
that to somebody.
And that's why we tend to be trusting, because it's like you don't think someone's capable of doing it until you were burned. And it's hard because each state again has a different thing. So a lot of these people posting that the client left without paying or said they were going to pay and never did. I guess there's different state rules, because some people are like, oh, report it to the police as theft. In some places, it is considered theft. You got a service, you stole it, it's theft. Other ones are like, well, you let her leave, so there's nothing we can do. But going back, I'm sure all of you saw that video of the one stylist that pulled the girl back in and then cut out the work she had done. What are you supposed to do? Obviously, you're never supposed to put your hands on somebody. But in this instance, I forget what state it was, but the police officer was like, you let her leave. I can't physically retain her because look at what happens there. And what am I supposed to do? Like, maybe lock the door and guard the door? I don't know. But it's like, we got to figure out a better way here with these rules. There are stylists all over getting burned right now, unfortunately. So the best thing I think people could do is protect themselves. Maybe it's having them sign a waiver. Maybe it's they have to pay in full before we do the appointment. Maybe it's have to lock the appointment in and that's their deposit. And then maybe it's they have to pay before we actually do these big services to protect ourselves. If this is going to continue going on, especially hair color, you already did it. It's already done. Extensions, they're in. Yeah. Can you take them out? Sometimes, you know what I mean? But again, you paid for the hair, it's your time, everything. So I feel like maybe going forward, there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe it's they pay for your hourly rate. And if you did something extra, then they would get charged that at the end. But I think big services like this, then I don't think there's anything wrong with paying beforehand. Yeah. We need to protect ourselves.
I mean, think about it too with like contractors. They want their deposits before they even step into your house and do a remodel. And sometimes those contractors will shade out and be like, nope.
Yeah.
Haven't heard from them.
Exactly. Usually they'll break it up into like 3 payments, leaving the end as the smallest portion. Usually they'd be like, okay, I'm fine with if I had to walk away right now. It's like it's enough to cover the punch list of whatever little things they need to do. But there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of industries, tattoo artists, everything, you're paying the bulk of it up front to lock it in. Our industry shouldn't be any different. And yes, we want to help people. And yes, we want to work with people. But we also have to take care of ourselves, our families, our businesses, and being able to know we can support our people. So I think that's what we should totally start doing going forward.
Next red flag. My friend might do it for free. I just wanted to see your prices first.
Yeah, that's someone just wasting your time. You're going back and forth. You're maybe doing a consultation over the phone, giving pricing, or maybe they've even come in for a consultation. And it also just shows in the back of their mind that
they're not serious about
They're not serious and they're on a budget. And I get it. We're all on a budget, right? We all have budgets. We all know what we can and what we can't do. I would say to myself, okay, am I going to do this once and then her friend's going to be touching this up? Where's the relationship really going? So you don't know how serious they are. Maybe they're trying to find out how you would achieve it and then they're going to have their friend do it. I don't know. I think with that, it's a case by case thing. And I think if you meet them, you can gauge it and really trust your intuition on it. If you feel like this is not going to be the right client for you and that it's a red flag, then it is a red flag.
Yeah, always listen to your gut.
Yes. And also in my back of my mind, I'd be like, oh my God, what is on this girl's hair? Because if her friend has been doing it for free, she's probably played around with her hair. So I'd be thinking, what am I getting into? What's really So my consultation with her color history would be massive because I would find around like how many hands have been in this pot here.
Yeah.
What's underneath her hair? What products were used?
It could be like overtone,
It could
or
be a
it could be a
nightmare.
wax dye.
It could be an absolute nightmare. So that might be that client that you're doing a test spot on too, a test strand to see how she's lifting before you go and spend all this time and then a big color correction on your hands. But yeah, red flag.
Okay. Again, we had covered this topic in the first episode in part 1 of the red flags, but again, do you offer any discounts?
Yeah.
So, of course, it's like you want to respect yourself and stick to your guns. Like, you are talented and you are worth every penny. And anybody that tries to nickel and dime you is not worth your time and does not respect your boundaries.
No, I think that's definitely. And if you tuned into another episode we did talk about certain discount days that we did back in 2008 that we recommended. If that's the situation that you're in and you need to do that client, then make sure that when you're having a discount, it's not because they asked. It could be, okay, we don't offer discounts on this day or this service. However, maybe there's another stylist that's a lower price point, or on Mondays, we offer whatever it is, 10% or 20% off of a particular service. So that way it's not like you're giving in. You're giving them an option if you have that option. And if you don't, that's okay. We don't have to give discounts. And make sure if you are giving a discount that you're still making money off of this service. No one's here to work for free. Making sure that your color cost and everything and your time, you are being profitable. It's not worth it if you're not. So that would just be my recommendation to the discounts.
And also in 2008, like we were talking about 2 episodes ago, that was a different economic climate. So that was survival mode and working with your clients to keep them coming back. Like it was a totally different world.
You had more wiggle room, right? Because the products and your overhead wasn't as high as everything is. That's high. You have your groceries. Every bill has gone up, right? So you had more wiggle room to be able to still be profitable and offer a discount. Now it's a little harder. So you have to make sure that your pricing is on point with what you need it to be and not that you're selling yourself short. I think a lot of hairstyles, it's very easy that you're thinking on that, just that, oh, I got to do this person and I just got to do more by volume. But you actually have to break it down because you might actually be paying out of your pocket to do someone's hair. So really just keep evaluating your product cost, everything, the total of insurance or whatever, if you're a salon owner, if you're a booth renter, all that. Make sure you're adding in all of your overhead so that you're making your prices be profitable.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Okay, this is our last red flag, which is kind of similar to the first one, but when a new client comes in and they are absolutely trashing the last stylist they talked about. Red flag.
Red flag for me and stylist, red flag for me in life. I don't like anybody trashing other people. I feel like it discredits them when they're trashing them, and then I don't really believe 100% of what they're saying. So for me, I was always raised, you treat people how you want to be treated. I don't like to bash other stylists. I don't want someone to sit there and bash a stylist. The way I look at it is you're not a stylist. Like you don't know what it entails or it takes, or you don't understand color. You don't understand color theory. So for me, them bashing them, I just feel like there's usually a big part out of it. And there's always 3 sides to every story. There's the stylist and the truth. So I take it with a grain of salt, but I just know that person is capable of bad-mouthing somebody. And then
who's to say they won't do it to you? 100%.
They'll do it to you. That's a person is going to write a bad review. That's a person that's going to blast, you all over the place, dragging you through the mud. So now you have that hanging over your head. And yes, you have a chance that they might love it, but you also know that they're capable of being that person. So for me, I don't like to be around that energy. I don't like to be around someone because they're bashing his styles. Granted, they're going to probably be bashing their friends. They're going to be bashing whatever, their family. I don't want to listen to that. I know some stylists are all about the drama and the juicy and give me this and give me that. And they like hearing that stuff. I don't. I just feel like that's the point I am in my life. I don't really get into, my life's busy enough. I got too much on my plate to be worrying about who's doing what or who's sleeping with who. I don't really get into it. So if someone's bashing a stylist, I usually try to, again, steer the ship and kind of go around of what I might be seeing in their hair. I might look at what they have compared to the look that they want, and I can go from there. And yeah, there might be things that happen, right? I've seen where people have cut into the hair and over texturized it and there's pieces everywhere. I have seen maybe there's some bleeds in a foil. And you know what? Sometimes that happens. I think every stylist at one point or another in life, you're going to get a bleed. You could be doing it 30 years and you might just get a bleed that day. I don't know if people for that. I was always taught, though, that you fix that right away before the client leaves. So you'd fix it at the sink. So if anything, I might reference that. But I feel like, again, I kind of just try to diffuse the complaint and get to what I'm there for. I'm here to see what I can do for your hair, hear what you don't like, but I don't need to hear all the drama of the stylist. I don't, and I don't contribute to it. And I hope other stylists also don't contribute to it as well, because we've all been there. None of us are perfect. None of us are just hitting it out of the field every time. Like, we are going to make mistakes. We're going to have off days. There's going to be issues and situations that are not to our knowledge. We don't know. She might have had box dye on and maybe her highlights lifted uneven because her hair was horrible to begin with. I don't know. So I'm not going to necessarily judge the stylist on it. I just look at what I can do and I don't need to hear it. So.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's the same thing. Like, don't feed into
that
conversation. You don't want to get sucked in like
no,
that.
And I've heard stylists do get sucked in. I've heard them like, "Oh my God, what salon was it? Who was the stylist? Who was the stylist?" And like,
was she someone Instagram famous?
Or they'll start trashing the stylist too. And I don't get me wrong, there's some hairdressers out there. I always call them like the hungry hairdressers that will totally jump on it because they want you as the client. So even if you've like just went in for a blowout and you love your color and your stylist, they're going to try to find something wrong with it to get you and steal you. So I don't like I said, I don't like any of that. I don't feed into any of that. But yes, there are going to be some like, oh my God. And then they're going to go and tell everybody else in the salon, do you know what just happened at blah, blah, blah salon? And I don't like that. We need to all stick together. I simply try to diffuse it. But yes, it is a red flag. I feel, again, use your gut instincts, how you feel about this person. I mean, there's people I could be around that I think are lovely, but I just don't like their energy, or I just don't feel like I have anything in common. But maybe you're like, no, I really like this person. And regardless of her maybe complaining, I know I can work with this person. Then go for it. But if you feel like, nope, walk away. Usually my go-to out on that is, I feel like your hair is just a little too compromised. At this point, I think we should work on healing it. Maybe if they have grays, I can do a touch-up. I could do a glaze or something simple. We'll do a treatment on it. You're helping, but you're not getting your hands in it. Yeah. Sometimes you're better off.
I agreed. You just got to know when to walk away. And it's really hard in the beginning.
It's hard in the beginning. And I understand.
Have the courage to walk away.
Well, and I understand every situation stylist is different. Not all of us. I'm a salon owner, so yes, I can call my own shots. Not everybody is. Sometimes there's a lot of stylists that are in a salon that the owner is telling them, you have to do it, you have to do it. Sometimes there's quotas. Sometimes you have different things you have to hit. Sometimes that's not allowed, which if that is the salon that you're in, sometimes we stay all different reasons. We like the girls. We are afraid our clients won't leave. But I would really start thinking about if that's the place for you, because I don't think any owner would really want their stylist put in that position. And I think then the stylist, you should be able to come to your owner and just be like, listen, she hasn't been happy at this salon, that salon. I just have a feeling that she's a walking red flag. I don't want to get a bad review for the salon. Maybe if you want to come talk to her and see what you think, like, you can do that. Use that, because the owner might come over and the owner might be like, I think you'd be a better fit. I can totally fix you up. Or they might have your back and say, no, I think maybe you should give your hair a little time, a little breather. Yes, I understand not everybody can turn away money. The owner might be like, why did you do that? You know what I mean? Because it's income for them.
My sanity.
We get that 100%. But there are different ways of handling that. And if you truly, truly, truly do not feel comfortable, at the end of the day, it is your reputation. Then maybe you just talk to her. I know so-and-so has time in her book. I talk to her, she'll gladly take it. You know what I mean? Do what you have to do, but no one should be forced to do something that they don't want to do.
Absolutely. And if there's other red flags that I'm sure we've missed, feel free to add the comments below and tell us some of your stories and experiences, because we'd love to hear them. And we'd love to be able to find solutions for them to help you and maybe even do another series with all of your comments.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for
Thank
watching.
you.